Hello there, I'm Dan Alasso, and welcome to US History 1, my demo or beta version of my new US History web-based self-study course, or web text. I've been working really hard to get this thing launched, and the first couple of chapters seem to be pretty much in the can, so I'm going to put this up on the web. And as I do that, I want to point out a bunch of ways that you can engage with this content. First, you can open the section at the left called Narrative Chapters, and then you can open US Chapter 1, and you can begin reading. You'll find that the content is divided into a couple dozen pages that try to express kind of a single idea at a time in digestible chunks. There will be text and images on each and every page of this web text, and there will also be purplish links, you'll notice, that will take you somewhere else. Most of them will take you to another page within this web text that will expand on the idea that had been highlighted. For example, on page 1.2, there's a link to a page about the Aztecs, and there's a link to a page about Monteverde. Even though the page in this particular narrative that we're on is called Monteverde, the second page gives more detail and includes different images to give you a bit more of a deep dive. You'll also notice that this additional Monteverde page has links of its own to still other pages. One of them, Beringia, is an additional internal link. The second, the Kelp Highway one, is actually a link to the World Wide Web, in this case to a National Geographic article, although oftentimes the links will be to Wikipedia pages. I tend to link to the outside web when I think that the idea that I'm linking might be interesting to my readers or might provide useful background, but it's not something that's super relevant to the US history topics that I'm going to be trying to focus on and cover in this content. Stuff that you'll only ever see a link to once will be the most likely type of thing that you'll see an outside link to. Stuff that we're going to return to again and again usually deserves an internal link. Also, if I have something particular that I want to call out about an idea or call your attention to that you wouldn't find on a third-party page, then I'll tend to write my own. So you're welcome to follow the flow of the narrative that I wrote from 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3 and so on. You can navigate one step back or one step forward at the bottom of each page, or you can use the menu at the left. You can also, of course, jump around using that menu. You could also follow the links on a page to other pages and then page back to the narrative, or just keep jumping around from page to page, following whatever interests you. Another way that you can engage with this content is to pop open the other folder called Topic Index. That contains all of those additional pages that add more information to the narrative, but don't really fit inside it. The links in the narrative pages. And these are arranged in alphabetical order rather than chronologically based on the chapter where the links occur. In any case, often a topic page will be linked to several chapters where the information is relevant. So you can scroll through these topic names on the left-hand menu, and you can open the ones that interest you. Then you can open another, or you can follow the links that interest you on the pages that you open, and once again, see where you end up. You could also use the search bar to look for very specific information if you want to focus. Yet another thing that you might try is to look at what's called the graph. You may have noticed that on the top right of each page, there's a little box with some dots connected by lines. The center one represents the page that you're on, and all the others are the other pages that page is linked to. And you can see a blow-up of that box, almost full screen, by clicking on the little arrow. Or you can change the zoom by dragging over the box. If you have a trackpad, it's a two-finger gesture. Or you can see the entire graph of the web text with all of the pages by clicking the three little connected circles. And then when that one blows up, you can drag over that to move and size it too, which will help you to see things more clearly and to see the labels on each one of those nodes. If you hover over a node, you'll highlight all the things that it links to. And if you click drag it, you can actually pull it around the graph. So play around a little bit. It's fun. Oh, another thing that I almost forgot to tell you is that when you are looking at those links on any of the pages, by hovering on them, you'll actually open a little mini window that will give you a preview of what that link is about. Usually it'll show you the image because I typically put them at the top of each of the pages. Finally, in addition to all of this information on all of these pages, there's an additional folder called Primary Sources that is really the thing that I had in my mind when I started the ebook that led to this project. I think it's really useful to hear the voices of real people who lived through the events that we're learning about and who didn't know how everything was going to turn out in the end. That's why primary sources are so valuable. People are concerned about the events because they're living them, and their perspective isn't prejudiced or isn't poisoned by spoilers. There are at least a dozen primary sources for each chapter in this course right now, and I'll be adding more. Their pages include excerpts from letters, diaries, memoirs, political documents, newspapers, and all kinds of other sources that were produced in the moment. They're each less than 1,500 words long because I've edited them so that they get right to the point and don't go on for too long. And there are even more images. And there's a little bit of scene setting before each passage, where I also provide links to the names and ideas that are most relevant. And then finally, there's an audio file of me actually reading each one in case you'd prefer to listen in addition to, or even instead of, reading them. For example, the 1614 Pocahontas page has nearly 11 minutes of me telling you the story. It also has internal links in that scene setting paragraph to the three important people in the story, Pocahontas, Powhatan, and John Rolfe, so that you can go find more information about each of them on their own pages, as well as find the other pages that they link to in this web text. And it has an external link to Samuel Argall, who, although he's the villain of this story, I didn't think he was really interesting enough to deserve his own page right now. Maybe in the future I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll discover something that makes him more interesting. And that is the other advantage of a web-based text. I'll be able to add him, but that's a story for another day. So I hope that this information was useful to you, and I hope this gives you an idea of why this might be an interesting and a fun way to look at this kind of a history. And because this is a demo or a beta test, I would certainly be interested in feedback about that. So do let me know what you think is working and what you think I could improve on. And I will continue adding more. But that's all for now. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that a bit interesting. I will see you again very soon.